Ooh, did you see this one? It's 16K. Ooh, look at that one. 5,000 frames a second. Ooh, look at this one. Oh my gosh, I must have it. You don't need a new camera. There's a thing that's going on YouTube, and it's sort of the flex, you know. I gotta have this camera, and that's the camera that'll make it so that I have the best YouTube channel. No, it's YouTube. You don't. And the bottom line is, most people are watching on a little tiny device, and worse than that, no hate on YouTube, but man, do they smash down a compression on a video. So we'll just start there. When I first got into the video production business, there was that massive difference between the dad cam and a professional video camera. And I remember my first video camera, my father invested in me, and he helped me purchase a Panasonic 3CCD camera that shot the tape. Can't remember the model. It was a great camera. It was kind of the one that all the indie guys were shooting with at the time. And I did a ton with that camera. Then a magical time came. Canon came out with the Rebel T2i, and they changed the world at that time. So again, yes, that camera mattered. For the first time, you had a nice big sensor on a camera. You could get inexpensive lenses that looked premium in the video. Wonderful depth of field, blows away the old CCD cameras, the CCD cameras and the old like TV production cameras, because it looked like you were shooting film now. That was a massive move forward. And then the next iteration, 4K came. Now that was a funny time. Canon kind of held tight-fisted on letting the 4K be in the consumer market. But Sony came along and was like, hey, we got you. And they were selling 4K cameras that did what that Canon camera did. And suddenly, everybody's like, whoa, I can shoot 4K that looks cinematic on a camera? Yeah. So I made the full jump to Sony at that time. And I've never turned back. I love Sony's innovation, and I love their cameras. I know everybody has their camera brand. I'm just a Sony guy. But once we got the 4K interchangeable lens cameras with a good sensor, it's been sort of iteration improvements since then. That standard still works wonderfully. I have done over the years a lot of video even for television. Some of the television stations around here in the Cleveland market, at least as of a couple of years ago, we're still just accepting 1080p files. One of the stations was still working at 720p. So 4K was perfect and still is perfect. And 8K is unnecessary. If you are in that market, you can use 8K for creative purposes, but you're not delivering 8K video to anybody. That being said, you don't need it for YouTube either. Most of my customers now, they need videos for their websites, they need videos for social media, and they just need a presence online. It's not really so much about the advertising as it is personal branding. No one needs 8K on their website. You know, I know when I worked at NASA, the guy who was managing the server was furious if we would give him a 4K file. He was like, we're not serving that up. It's chewing up our server. So my point is, you don't need to keep chasing the cameras. You've probably heard this before, but lenses are great, and lenses never change. And we're in a wonderful time where even if your camera changes, you can get adapters for the lenses you've invested in. Lenses are your best key to making things look cinematic. And it doesn't even have to be primes. You know, you can buy, there are some great budget lenses. A buddy of mine for years, he was shooting on a Tamron 24-70, I think that's what it is. I think it's a 2.8. Man, we use that for so many customer jobs. It was a great lens that I think only cost, I can't remember. I'll put it up on the screen, but it was like $600 or $800. It was not an expensive lens. But what it looked like, beautiful. And that's kind of the phase that we're in now. The camera tech has gotten so good that even this little DJI Pocket 3, it looks good. It looks, to me, great. And it's a wonderful format for delivery to YouTube or even customer videos. I have been using this in conjunction with my Sony camera as sort of a backup wide. I mount it on top, I'm shooting, and I can do whatever I want with the main lens. And this one's always capturing in a widescreen format in 4K, 10-bit, that I can then use for cut to. And I mean, so you can get a camera for $400, $500 that's gonna do everything you need. And you don't even need that. You can use a cell phone. I have used cell phone before. I just like the flexibility of using this instead of a cell phone, so I'm not filling up my cell phone with all this footage. I can dump it off of here and move on and keep what I want to keep. I'll just move it to my phone if I want to. But I don't need everything that I've taped to be on my phone. Another thing that makes the world a better place for cameras, not a new camera, but the support system, like a gimbal. I think a gimbal, it can be overused, right? Everybody is using that tool now, but it blows away the sliders. Sliders were the first iteration. I don't know if you remember that, but everybody had to have a slider, and there were slider movements in everybody's video for a while. You can kind of do slider movements with a gimbal. You can do crane movements with a gimbal. You've got everything covered. And that's another reason why I love the DJI Pocket 3, because also the gimbal. That is going to give you that cinematic look. And you can't overuse the gimbal. Handheld's still good, but you need to figure out the story, and so is the jitteriness of a handheld camera telling more of the story, creating more action. Then it's a tool for that. And then you have your gimbal, and then also locked off shots. There is nothing wrong with a wonderful tripod shot. Most of your movies, most of the stuff is happening on tripod. Maybe not action films, but that's a different animal altogether. What's my point? I've been rambling for a while. Don't stress your camera. Don't keep chasing new tech. Work on your filmmaking skills. Work on telling your stories on YouTube. Don't keep chasing cameras. Chase skill. Well, I hope this little, what am I calling this? This little TED Talk helped you out today. What are your thoughts? Let me know below. I'd love to talk to you, share your opinions, and maybe we can talk about it, if you have questions or whatnot. But again, I just think we have got to this really sweet place where a really good camera is kind of available to anybody who wants to be a creator, and don't stress about not having the latest and greatest.